Alright, in this video I wanted to kind of briefly talk about the Black Friday set, the Infernal Angel Liberation Armor, which is what you see pictured here. And then we have the shield, and then we have the weapon. Um, so the item here is has the ability to go to spellcaster mode, so you can actually do this once a battle. It is bugged. If you go into a shop, it'll reset itself, but if you go to the next battle and so on and so forth, it'll stay. Um, so I don't know if that'll be addressed. Um, but basically, that's the first skill. The third skill here is going to inflict burn. It's a pretty significant burn. 8.49 power for 6 rounds. That's pretty high. And then the third skill here, let's see here. Basically, it consumes burn to heal. So just to kind of give you an idea what that can do, 1500. So it's pretty strong. It's a heal. It's a caster armor. I don't know that too many people are going to use the full defensive mode. It's a caster armor that has initiative. So it's the first one that has the plus 50% damage on the first round of combat for a caster armor. And so that's nice. The only other fire caster armor was that Dreamweaver's, and a lot of people don't like the design of it. There has been some talk of maybe a redesign, but there is an ever-growing backlog of items that are basically slated for redesigns. At this point, they probably should just stop talking about it. But all in all, it's not a bad armor. The weapon itself inflicts panic. So I think you pay like 59 SP, I believe. Yeah, 59 SP, and it lowers weapon damage by 20%. And then basically you're going to get about 14% panic for the magic weapon. The shield will actually inflict panic on blocking. That doesn't make any sense. They're going to change it. Again, this is another item that they have plans to change. I'll believe it when I see it. But it's going to inflict panic when you get landed hits. I actually suggested that the shield actually backlash panic, and like full backlash where the panic amount would scale on damage. A lot of people may balk at the idea because of the heightened scrutiny of how overpowered backlash is. But if you're backlashing panic and it scales on damage, so the monster hits you, it backlashes panic, lowering the monster's damage. It hits you, you're going to be hit for less because it's panicked. It backlashes less panic. So every time it hits you, the panic is reduced. So there's a return on investment starts to lower. I think that's probably the best way to go. First couple of hits will be impactful, then ones after that will not be that impactful. But um, I think it's going to be hit based instead of dodge based. And then maybe the best feature of the armor is the full set bonus, which is going to be status potence 15, which I did not actually see here. I think there is a bug with Optico. Let's see. There it goes. So there is a bug with Optico where it won't list twice sometimes, but you can actually get it to work properly. De-equip Optico and then re-equip the weapon. And as you can see, they're both there. So that's another bug. Um, and so Overall, um, I think that's maybe the best feature of the armor. Gaining 15 omnipotence will make this a extremely powerful status inflicting armor on either mode, the full defensive mode or the caster mode. So I think that if you're really into like inflicting things, panic, blind, the cold, different things, um, you're able to do those things, and then having the caster mode will actually lend itself to be offensive as well, and that's kind of one of the things that I like personally like to do is I like things that can both function pretty well offensively as well as do things pretty well defensively, giving you a good mix. I think a lot of players just want just full on great defense or full on great offense, and that's fine. I like a good mix to give me that versatility. Um, I personally love, like for example, everything that provides versatility, like the Lucky Beast Mage build, having the MP bar, um, just doing different things with different items to provide the versatility, in my opinion. Um, that way you can adapt to any situation and be successful rather than being limited because you decided to um, play a specific way and then versus certain monsters you'll struggle with. Certain monsters you have to nuke or you're going to struggle, or certain monsters you have to play defensively, you're going to struggle. Those types of things when you can actually have setups and items that can kind of do both and you can just adjust. That's what I personally like to do, and that's one of the reasons why I really like the armor and the set. It's not, to me, it's not as powerful as last year's Infernal Champion as far as what it's capable of doing, um, but um, I could foresee this. Sometimes I've used certain armors or certain setups. Could you actually use this armor outside of optimal conditions? So, like for example, I have 91% to water, and then we have a water monster here. Could I function using this armor versus 90% of other monsters? And to me, with the status potence, I could bring in chokes and panics and um, other things to inflict on the monster to get by with the 91% to water or 100% to ice, and so on and so forth in this case. I do find it interesting that its light and darkness are both at 51%. You could drop that down. Um, so that would be under 20. You can get down to 19% for those elements, which is you can get by on that versus most monsters as well. So it does have a couple of decent secondaries. So this armor could kind of be used um, versus shadow monsters, but the idea here seems to be inflicting panic by being hit and using the weapon, and then you can use the burn skill, which will come in handy, um, especially in the full defensive mode. And then when you're hit, you can just heal, and it's overkill. Now, could the armor and setup be better? Yeah, I think the heal skill um, could maybe they could have probably halved the heal amount and gave the other half a barrier, and then both of them get increased via the eater skill or spell. I do want to mention that at release and on info subs, these costed SP, but this was changed and not mentioned anywhere to cost MP if you're holding the magic weapon. So I wanted to point that out. Um, and so the idea here is survivability. You're reducing monster damage um, as you're being hit and as you're doing rounds by panic stacking, and then you could just inflict burn and then heal based on it. Um, it probably could have used Maybe with the weapon they could have had the burn spell compressed into the weapon, and then they could have had the instead of that third skill being that, they could have maybe had like a nuke spell and skill on there. Um, and then I think the set would probably be a lot better. But overall, um, I would give it maybe a 7 out of 10. Um, Art wise, it's very, very nice. What it does, its effects, its spells, skills, etc. Maybe not as good as the art, but overall, I kind of like it. Um, it's worth carrying around for the initiative. Um, and being a beast mage, a lot of people don't remember that the initiative boost also boosts pets and guests by 50% on the first turn. If you give yourself celerity, both of them get 50% on both turns. So, using spellcaster armors as a beast mage isn't a bad idea, to be honest with you. Some people may find that to be weird, but I personally don't, because um, you're able to uh, get some better offense from the player side while still letting your pets and guests maybe nerfing monsters through panic stacking or def boost stacking, um, or maybe you're using them to heal back MP constantly while getting the spellcaster lean boost. So there's some good synergies there. Like I said, a mix of good offense and defense with the build, and then as well as with the armor itself. But that's it for this video. Thank you.